So, and yes, I can do recordings now. Uh, well, I can, but I would need to go through and clear down all the memory on the headset. Um, yeah, yeah, but I haven't. Yeah, yeah, no worries, no worries. Well, uh, I've got, and hopefully interesting. So, created a bunch of code. I'll not go through because it's baked, but pull down histories from commits and all that kind of good stuff in terms of isolate. Um, the one thing I've noticed, um, and I think this fits in very well with what we're talking about with helps and isolates, is having one AI with one isolate, one piece of code, works really well. It never fucks up. So it might be that there is like an agent isolate kind of pairing that we want to have as a kind of, as a rule of thumb. Well, you don't need to do anything different because presumably you can have one or more. So I can play around with one, and then it will be the chatter, which is still a big issue. The chatter between them and the time to respond. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. Starting to get really tired of chatter. It's like, for fuck's sake, what are you talking about? It's like, oh yeah, it's Friday night, guys. You come down to the pub. It's like, but anyway, what I have done is I've done some thinking around. Okay, so commits. The top level goal is to get attribution. So how do you tell what the attribution is? And I'd love your thoughts on my thoughts here. Yeah. Unless there's anything you want to go through. Yeah. Yeah, well, see what you think about this one. So this is my start for 10. So what I did to generate this is I went through all the information that is at least accessible uh, through the pulling stuff through Git. No, it's type. Is it type? Okay, all right, okay. Come on, man. All right. So the very base is the commit message and description, right? And there's possibility to assess the, uh, the the commit message. So if you just go Yahoo bollocks. That's not very helpful. But that is something that an AI can assess. It's like, did you do your message description well? Um, so lines of code changed. Okay, I'll let you read it and ask, as opposed to just read it for me. And the purpose of this document is what I'm trying to do is to get the weightings that I want the AI that provides attribution based on the information we can get from Git only, nothing else. So the contributions are handled by Git. So the task is, what's the attribution? Yeah, what are the factors by which, now there's no weights against any of these. I suggest that we get a bot to decide what's fair, and that will. The intermediary contribution map, yes, but this assumes perfect knowledge of who did what. Yes, and then weights can be decided, but the contributions are not, they don't all seem equal. I think the weights should be decided by AI and not by us. I mean, we can see it. At the point of use. Now, there's two types of use, right? There's monies generated and there's actual use generated. Use generated, the well, use generated doesn't involve any dollars coming back, but yeah, yeah, but you remember we were talking about reputation. Right. And you see, yeah, later down. Uh, well, yes, but do say someone pays a hell of a lot for a thing, that could distort the reputation. So I've been thinking along the lines of, remember we were talking about reputation. Well, this is one of the things I think it does, because oh, sorry, oops, sorry, I was trying to remove this. Sorry, sorry. I think reputation impacts because not if you have someone turning up and producing a piece of code further down, when we've got historical impact, how much is that useful? Yeah, that's fine, but I think there needs to be something around commit author. The commit author, if, for example, if you changed some of the code for Dreamcatcher, I think that reputation would have a higher weight than just someone turning up and going, well, here's the thing. We don't know what the value of that thing is. We do know historically after it's used, but we don't know a priori, which is why I'm advocating for reputation as being social credits, social pay. Yes, if you were to write exactly the same lines of code as someone else, we wouldn't know whether the impact. Remember, we need to take a snapshot each point. Any one snapshot is right, exactly. And also, someone coming in with no contribution, we can't tell until the historical impact is known. We don't know whether that contribution was good until it's actually used. Okay. Um, okay, so if I were to let's take the commit author line there. If I were to talk to a Nobel Prize winning blah blah physicist about physics, and I was talking to someone randomly on VR, I'd probably count more weight behind the guy with the reputation who's, as you say, got something to lose, and the reputation is constantly updated and so. But it's sort of because it's um, what would be a good way of putting it? Until we know actually what the real impact is. So there's two ways of going about this. We could. I see your, I see your point. I do think there is a thing about reputation in terms of a positive feedback as well. Mm. Possibly, or you might break it. You might break it. You know. Mm, mm. No, no, it's not. What I'm looking for is a positive feedback for good behavior. If someone's got a reputation and they built up a reputation, they want to protect it, and so they're going to give higher commits and they're going to spend more time and make sure it's right. If they have no reputation to live up to, then they can throw it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the second line down from the commit author is I know the there's a danger of feedback loops as well. So someone with higher reputation has higher weight, and therefore the reputation goes up, and so we might not want to. Mm, right, right. Yeah, 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 yeah. But I do. I want to put back on the table the utility of reputation in giving a positive feedback loop for people's behavior. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So a kind of materialist kind of. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I can park that to one side, but I will bring it back up because I do think it's going to be an interesting thing. Right. lines of code. Read that. That's the kind of gross level, isn't it? Um, yep. Well, yeah, 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 exactly. Um, it's yes, okay, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, but they you could have a really long session and then end up changing one line of code. So, or you could so a long NL session can create a very small change, or a very short NL can create a significant change. Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the core to this whole thing, isn't it? Yeah, yeah, yeah. You get no badges. You get no badges for effort. Right, 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 right. And right, right. Yeah. Now, I think that really comes down to we need to assign values to commits, because otherwise the rest kind of is really difficult and arbitrary. So you see in the community feedback, which includes bot feedback. Um, um, yes, but each commit is a node on that contribution map. Yeah, but it has a history, doesn't it? Yes, and that's the our original idea, which was tracking usage purely by going through. Are you hitting the line of code that you're actually using? Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Right. Well, there's nothing in here that actually speaks to the utility because I couldn't see anything in what you can pull down from Git about the utility of it. Yeah, yeah. Yes, but only the only difference is waiting really between them. So, so what I'm seeing is contribution is brute fact. You did this. Then we've got to work out the value. The value is the difficult thing. Now, the value seems to be, unless we're actually looking at, we count the character count of a commit as your contribution. There needs to be some kind of weighting saying that was actually really useful. That one semicolon made a whole bunch of difference, whereas you were just adding in a whole bunch of comments into the code, which was kind of cool, but didn't really help. And so there needs to be some kind of weighting around it. Now, what we don't have coming out of commit is anything. Oh, sorry, Git is anything to do with runtime. Um, and mm, 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 yeah, yeah, mm, right, yeah, license, yeah, 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 It's a real tricky one. Okay, right. Okay, let's spitball this one. So, okay. Well, all right. Okay, go for it. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Uh-huh. Okay. So, I don't disagree with any of that. The practical question is, what access do we have that we can actually draw up the contribution table from? At the moment, we're going through Git. Mhm. 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 So what you're saying is, every time there's a session, there's an assessment of that session to see how useful it was. Right, but it's also hierarchical because if you've created a help and that generates another session that's actually used, then you can use that session to generate some kind of weighting and absolute value. Well, no, absolute value, and then the weighting would be outside of it because there'll be a number of helps used. Well, here's a question, because I mean, yes, but that's no different from any other session. Um, so if we were presumably we're storing sessions inside a Git, right? Okay, so this sounds horrifically expensive, but what you could do is right, if someone makes a change, then the session, we should be able to get some kind of contribution number based on the entire session, if we are clear about what the prompt is, or the session prompt. And if it needs to go to helps, likewise, that's just cascade, right? The same thing. Now, so all we need is some kind of who's contributed to the session, and that seems to be one, and then possibly many. So one is the Dave who's talking to the session, and the many who's improved the sysprompt to get better and better outputs. So you could go through this each session in Cascade and say, okay, so given this session, how useful that was. Okay, this is the Dave, and this is the provenance of the bot that did it. This bot asked a dozen other bots, and in each case, well, Dave is left behind, but the many who've contributed to building that bot are the ones who actually are owed, because otherwise that bot is not available. Right. It sounds very expensive, mind you, but because every time you run something, you have to rerun the assessment at any one time of what each of the inputs were and the value of it. Hmm. Okay, so a session. What would be the likely format of that then? So, and you'd have potentially quite a large number of tokens where you're chatting away, you're talking about pizzas, and then you talk about how to, you know, crack this algo, and then you come up with an actual piece of code which is now useful. Presumably, what you need then is some kind of meta file that constrains that to saying this person did this thing on this date, and it's this useful, and he used this bot, and here are all the contributors to this bot. Well, actually, technically speaking, that's all you need in a cascading hierarchy. Yeah, yeah. Hmm. All right. Well, let me try this. Okay, so this is right. Dave name bot creator list value some assessment. So then you get another bot, and Dave's not dealing with that. So you've got bot 2 list value, etc. 3 and so on. Yeah, but the interesting thing is we need to keep the sessions because the value assessment happens at every stage, even if it's bot to bot. Mm. 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 Yeah, because it's dynamic, isn't it? Okay, so we need to. Okay, so if you have goal and then assessment, some assessment, uh, with respect to goal, that's the value assessment at each point. Mm. Yeah. Yes, but there's internal correctness and there's external. So I wrote a bot ages ago. I think you've seen it, where it looks like the how well has the bot responded to the goal. Um, but I think there's some kind of overarching. No, I think that bot needs to have a view of goals and sub goals. So it's like here's your intent. Oh, actually, onto something here. Um, I think there's a plan here. I don't know. Plan. So this top level is with respect to the goal, and this is with respect to the plan. So say if you had a top level goal, and then it's like, okay, here's how to achieve that goal. Great, fantastic. This top one is assessed by its utility versus the goal, and each point is assessed by its utility to the plan. And then what we obviously what I'm skirting over there is how do you assess bot 2 versus bot 3, um, but that doesn't seem impossible if we're using the same. If bot 2 did its job with respect to the plan and bot 3 did its job with respect to the plan, that probably was equal, right? Yeah, but how do we not make it equal? I'm still trying to think about practically how to get it. Well, that's the reversion thing. Yeah, 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 yeah. But the thing is that assessment can be run at any point and into the future. Oh yes, well absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And importantly, it's not the same as manager because a lot of people I see going down the route of expecting the manager to be that, and the manager is just a dispatcher. Right? It's a different thing. It's a different thing. Yeah, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, yeah. So this is quite interesting. Now this is obviously a much simpler schema. than going through Git. We need to put this information in somewhere so we can extract it. That's not hard, I assume. But what we're really talking about is a cascading hierarchy of sessions, creators, and oh, sorry, that's yeah, help. Oh, I'm fine with that. Yeah, yep, yep. Mm-hmm. 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 Yes, it could work. I, l- I like the idea of you get assessed by uh, the Dave and the bot being essentially a creator list. I like that idea. Yeah, 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 yeah. Mm, yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, it's something to try here, isn't there? Yeah. It does. It does assume that. Well, no, it doesn't assume. Because even if there was bit code, I was about to say it assumes that all code is being through NL. However, you could also get an assessor to look at something that's been written 10 years ago, um, and it would be the same structure. Mm. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. I think there's something to work with here. I think there could be a not shit thing to work with. Hmm. Derived. Yeah. Hmm. All right. Okay. Well, let me give a bash at that. Might involve a deal of cutting and pasting and pretending, but should should be. Yeah. Well, there's lots of other people doing other stuff. I don't know anyone else doing this stuff. No. Yeah. 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 They're still hiring staff. Huh. People are expensive. Okay. All right. Cool. I do. Let me just turn off this heater because it's getting a bit warm in here. We're in spring now. We're in spring. It's got to 8 degrees. I know. I'm sweating my balls off here. All right. That was a good session, by the way. Um, we need to keep on chewing over this, but I think we've now got the right tools. Yeah. Yeah. If we could get rid of users, that'd be brilliant. No, no, no. Just get rid of users. Full stop. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. All right. Uh, be more specific. So you clone someone else's code base, right? should the original owner be able to see what you're doing with it? Yeah. I mean, that sounds like it's be useful. Right. Right. And you could always do a diff, and yeah. Hmm. Yeah. 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 Also, practically, you can't. Yeah. Hmm. 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 Private people. Yes, it does. Yeah. Yeah. Uh, no, no, no. I think two calls away, back. I got over that. Yeah. It's uh, it, no, the unpleasant part was to go off to a separate service and to it's like log in. Okay, so now I've got an email. Now I need to get 2FA, all that kind of thing. It's a barrier to entry. Yeah, right. But also, what I was saying is GitHub is well understood and it's been around for a while, whereas we haven't. So, mhm. Okay. Well, that sounds like quite a big one, but yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And that lock-in is usually a major kind of psychological barrier. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess the question, um, if yeah, people are going to trust GitHub before they trust us. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Because we're essentially offloading the entire security thing to something that's well understood. It's been around for 2 decades, etc. Okay. Yeah. 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 We're not even close to that yet. Yeah. Okay. And all the API we talked about last time that people advertise, and yeah, 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 exactly, exactly. I mean, there is a converse argument that your site could go down in the middle of the night because it got popular. Um, so yeah, yeah, yes, yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. 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 Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. 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 It's a bit like Mastercard, isn't it? They're 2% or whatever it is, 3%. Yeah. 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 I think. But also, there's the utility, which I wouldn't underestimate. The utility of not having to get your own API key. Right. Yeah. 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 I think that's massive. I think that's massive because all you're doing is you're speaking your intent. You're asking a question, and it's like I can't be arsed going and getting. right? And you're prepaid, and it's like, oh, my $20 are up. And you put more money on. Okay, is that worth it? Yeah, okay, I'm good with that. Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. I died. Something died. Anyway, yeah. Hmm. Right. Yeah, 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 yeah. Because it's all basically an invoice on paper is equally as good as an API call. If it's yeah. Right. Yeah. 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 Yeah, yeah, and that model makes a whole bunch of sense because even now I've no idea how many subscriptions I've got. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because it could be API switching because we're doing natural language, and the natural language just finds the help. And if one system dies, then go to the next one. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I think so. I think so. Yeah. That's all the ones I've got as well. I need to go anyway in about 4 minutes. But yeah. Okay. All right. So for next time, I'm going to think more about. Oh, if you can put this video up, it'd be great. Because I've not been recording. Um, I'll go back through this and see what can be done with some kind of atom of session with metadata. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think we might be finally actually tackling attribution. No, we didn't know what the shit we were doing. That's why. Right. Anyway. Yeah. Yep. Oh, and ping me for the next one. I'll let you know how I get on. See you, man.